The iLLANOiZE app is available now on Apple and Google Play Store. Download the app, get the latest news, stream our podcasts, watch interviews, and listen to iLLANOiZE Radio live. Download the app right now.
You're tuned in to iLLANOiZE Radio, Chicago's most valuable online radio show. Again, you can follow us on all of our social media, which is at iLLANOiZE Radio. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and, of course, download that iLLANOiZE app. And as we always do at this time, we bring you the illest guest from around the city and globe. And today we got V.L. Harris in the building.
What up, y'all?
What's poppin'?
And we got nice weather. We out here at the cookout, social distancing. What's up, family?
I'm good. I'm happy you doing good. Y'all got the barbecue going. We gonna be over there in a little bit. Tell you that much.
Y'all coming? All right, I'll let my guy know, throw a little more steaks on the grill for my people. I got y'all.
Yeah, you definitely gonna have to scoot some of them steaks over and add some more.
I just need some chicken. So whatever you got with the chicken on there, that's all I need.
I got you. We got the chicken wings for you, seasoned up all good, family. We got it.
I'm on the way, cuz.
We got some.
Yes. Hopefully TMZ don't catch us coming to the crib.
Right.
They gonna say it's 1,000 people at your house.
Man gonna kill me.
Man,
you not social distancing.
Look, we gonna get Auntie Laura a plate. She gonna be cool.
We got Auntie Lori. We got her. She know we got her like she got us.
We got her. That's our peoples. We gonna hold each other down. You feel me?
Now, now we gotta jump into like how you got your start with journalism first and foremost. Break your background down a little bit.
Oh, absolutely, man. I knew I was a writer when I was a little girl. I remember telling my OG, I'm like, Mom, 8 years old. I say I'm a writer. She turned around. She looked at me. She like, I know. Been a writer ever since. I just been at it. It's just my drive and my passion for it. I went to Columbia College for a journalism degree and been writing ever since. But any and everybody that I can kind of get the voices out for the people that's usually not heard. So I'm always writing. It's been happening now 13 years. I've been a published journalist.
Wow, that's what's up.
Congratulations.
So that's super dope.
Thank y'all. 33 years old. So I've been hustling at this for over a decade, and it feels great.
Are you doing your thing?
Yeah. Yes, she is. Hey, and we got to congratulate you again because you landed a position with the Tribe, Chicago. Break down, how you all got familiar with each other and break down, why Tribe as a platform for you.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So the whole purpose behind my writing as a Black journalist and as a Black girl that grew up out west, city of Chicago, everything I've seen, experienced, felt, it just goes into my writing. And so at the top of the year, I always give myself these goals, what I'm going to do. So I tell my family, I tell my man, I'm like, look, this is what I want to do for this year. It's not even a New Year's resolution. It's a fact. So I put it in motion. So I said I was going to write for the Tribe. I hit up our editor, Tiffany Walden. She was busy, kept hitting up Tiff, kept hitting her up, and finally we connected. My very first piece did pretty well. I did an NBA coverage, kind of talking about changing the narrative of our city and how the NBA All-Star Weekend was a chance for that. So that did well. And from there, I've been covering the COVID in Chicago. And just, being a voice for our community and the Black people out here who don't really know the impact of COVID. So it just kind of fell in line, man. And the Tribe's entire mission is to change the narrative of Black Chicago because they cover our culture so bogus. And the Tribe, we over that. So we want to shake up some stuff in Chicago and tell some stories to change the narrative so that people could start understanding why we are in the situations we are in financially, mentally, spiritually, physically, and why that all plays into COVID. So right now, a pandemic is the perfect time to tell those stories because we are in dire need right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, my mama, I'm rocking with you, cuz.
Yeah, that's real.
You rocking with me, fam? Right?
Look, I'll shoot somebody for you. Point them out. That's how we rocking.
Appreciate it, y'all. It's real.
I had a gunshot. I would have let that sound effect go off.
I'm rocking with it. Don't touch it.
And say, drop the mic.
and everything you spoke of is absolutely true. Like Tribe been holding it down with giving us Black folks a platform of positivity. And you put out an article on the Chicago house party that took place April 25th. And you just brought a whole new like look upon what really happened that night. And not only that, but the mayor also checked out this article and it gave the mayor a whole new outlook as well. How does that make you feel as the person, you know, the artist behind that article? How does that make you feel that the mayor checked it out and, you know, gave it kudos and said, hey, you know, if you're in the city, you need to go read this article because it's a better, you know, outlook on things at this, you know, at this site? How does that make you feel as an author?
Family, it's such an incredible feeling, you know, and I tell my audience when I go live, when I write, when I post, you know, I'm not for the fame. I don't care about the likes, but to be able to change the narrative and get into people's minds and make them empathetic of the realities and see the realities, that's a great feeling. You know, it's a beautiful thing when my people start not necessarily judging one another and blaming each other, but start saying, yeah, maybe we out that bad because of this, or maybe we're not educated because of this, or maybe we'll do better if we do this. So I'm happy to kick off the conversation. I'm happy to make it cool again, to talk about this type of stuff. And usually it's so uncomfortable, right? Mm-hmm. I said on a show the other day, in Chicago, we could talk about Michael Jordan, R. Kelly. We could just get into conversation that sparks and goes viral in minutes. But when it's time to talk about these uncomfortable things and why young people on the West Side are not afraid of death, everybody want to be quiet. No, let's talk. I want to talk. And so the voices in my story, I believe, did a very amazing job kind of really telling the depths of what's hurting our young people out west.
Speak on it.
All facts. All facts. I was reading your article, and one of the things that really stuck out to me is when you mentioned that the highlight of the party was that we was able to see the disconnection between government official, media, and young black youth. Yep. And I was wondering, like, what do you think that has to happen for that connection to happen?
You know what? I tell people one of the main sources in my article, Tink Purcell, went on record saying that she didn't watch the news, saying that it was boring, it's depressing, and that she's pretty sure that her peers feel the same way too. Tink is a millennial. She's 26. I'm 33. I'm a millennial too. Even though we have different views on the news, it resonated with me simply because I started to think, so who are they listening to? Okay. And then earlier today, I'm on a call with a few people with the racial equity that Lightfoot is working on. And we have young people on the phone giving ideas and who we need to bring in to say it. And so my personal take is if these young people are listening to each other, we use them to educate one another. I think that older millennials aren't realizing that there's a divide in our millennial generation. We have our 20-somethings that are direct descendants of the crack epidemic, and a lot of them are still struggling from broken families and lack of education and resources. Then we have 30-somethings that may have, had a little more fortune and a little more advantage in their lives. And so the older millennials need to kind of get in tune and talk to the younger millennials because we obviously listen to each other. Tink Purcell said that all of her friends weren't letting COVID get in the way. All of them people gathered because they listened to one another. We need to take that fact and take it a little further and strategically figure out how to educate all of these people with each other. That's who they trust. Why would you trust the news if the news always paints a bad picture of you? Sure. Why would you trust journalism if journalism is always putting your hood out like we don't have nothing and like all we do is kill each other? They're not digging deep to figure out the why. They're just judging our community, and that's not cool. So the tribe is creating narrative so that people can see this is why we don't trust the news. There's nothing out there. When we lost Ebony Magazine and when the Defender decided to go digital, it became pretty obvious that we were losing a lot of Black journalism. And if we're not documenting decades at a time, we are really going to lose our history. So it's time that we get some real writing out there. TMZ ain't cutting it. I'm going to say that twice on the wave.
Say it again.
Say that.
Bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back.
They're not cutting it, and it's time for real journalism. That's no shade to people that's making a living at TMZ. I respect you all's hustle, but we need to get some real journalism, and I hope they can hear me too. We need to get some real narrative out here about what's happening to our people before we all die. It's a must.
True.
Ooh, girl, you got me over here sweating.
Okay.
Man, you ain't even at the barbecue yet, fam.
I know,
you
right?
sweating. You ain't even to the queue.
I'm just glad you really got that conversation started in the first place. I feel like it really
I
needed to happen.
appreciate that.
Yeah, like reading that article, when I read that article, I read it like, I'm just like, wow, this is exactly what needed to be said right now. And I just really appreciate you for doing that, because TMZ got on there and really made us look so bad. Talking about 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's crazy how quickly bad information and misinformation can spread, and now that changes the whole narrative.
Wow.
So
What threw me off was a couple days before that party, it was a whole wedding up north with everybody outside.
yeah.
In front of a yard.
Everybody was talking about it in relation to, yeah.
But then you didn't see that on TMZ. You don't see that all on the news. You don't hear the mayor talking about that.
Nope.
You know what I mean?
So what they do is we're vulnerable. We're vulnerable. We're in broken condition since forever. It's not new that out west is broken. It's not new that Inglewood is broken. Right. These are communities that we know for decades have gone without constantly, not good schools, no grocery stores. It is no wonder why they can't hear local officials. Would you trust somebody in the midst of a pandemic that's not fighting for your hood to have a grocery store? Right. I can't even get the basic needs in my hood, but trust you when it comes to information about saving my life. Like LaShawn Ford quoted in my article, some of these young people dodge bullets on a daily. COVID ain't nothing. That's sad.
You know what's real talk?
And we need to get down to that. What's up, family?
You know what, cuz? Real talk, I was talking to one of my homies, little homies, and, they was like, why should I be scared of COVID when I could risk my life going outside every day. Right. If I'm risking my life every day, I could lose my life. I got to worry about the police. I got to worry about somebody not liking my energy, or, you know what I mean, feeling some type of way just because I'm me or where I'm from. And then I got to worry about, COVID. That's too much to worry about. I'm going to just live my life.
Yeah.
And I'm happy you stated that.
People.
I'm happy that you placed that within the article too. Like, you stated that. And I want to ask you, what do you feel our government officials can do to better serve our Black communities?
Absolutely. Great question. I'm glad people asking that, because I'm not just talking my rah-rah. I have ideas and solutions. I think we need to meet them where they are, talk their language. I was on a call today saying this earlier with some young people who are on a coalition trying to get some messaging out. We need to repackage the message. We need to stop thinking that because Johnny from down the street in Oak Park read it in Chicago Tribune because his dad has a subscription, that man out west 10 minutes away is going to do the same. We have to repackage it because we need to meet people where they are to educate them. Right. It's one reason our education systems are failing in the culture. We're not teaching them in a way that they understand. So we need to bridge the gap by literally educating them in a way that they get it. I don't care if you got to get on TikTok, you got to get G Herbo. I don't know. Do what you have to do. But I think government and city officials owe these people their lives. They owe millennials their lives. We lost a lot of our parents to the crack epidemic. We lost a lot of our time and money to debt. I mean, we are descendants of slaves, y'all. And if I got to go all the way back, all of those centuries of slavery landed us right here to where we are still being misrepresented in the news. We are still not being heard correctly. And we are still not getting our story of the truth. We're not getting our side. And that's not cool.
What do you feel like, because we seem like we in the same age bracket. So like with our age group, and how do we help the next generation?
That's a great question. I think the blame got to go. I think, and I know some peers, 30 plus, they forgot 5 years ago what we were doing. And I'm not making excuses for the younger millennials or coddling them. It's going to take some tough love, but I think we have to stop blaming. The boomers want to blame the millennials want to blame Gen Z. It's just when we're going to put our fingers down and really figure out how we're going to keep one another alive. Right. Because if we don't, there's the culture right there. And I'm not just willing to see us go out like that. So that's why I'm very grateful to be writing for a publication like The Tribe. It's rewarding because there's not any other news out there that's going to give voices. There are, but far, far and few in between. So it's time. It's really time. We've had marches and movements, and everybody's been out picketing, and we've seen history repeat itself. So we need to be writing our narrative in a way that when our children's children read our narrative, they proud of who we are.
Right.
They need it's no more of that. Slavery has done enough to our history. We need to create generations and nations where our children are proud to read about us. That's what the tribe is about.
So with like the platforms you were speaking on, like the tribe, like iLLANOiZE, and like many other platforms, what do we have to do to get this message, to get the message out there? What do you feel like some things we should do to get the message out there, to repackage the message?
I think you start directly in your neighborhood. If you are an influencer and you are somebody that knows for a fact you have a voice, you start directly in your hood. You build up coalitions, conversations, neighborhood meetings, the things that happened that failed in the 90s, that we didn't give a chance to grow. Block clubs. We need to get back on these blocks. We need to be talking and understanding that just because your family gave you an environment that kept you alive, the next person may not have had that. Right. And I think before we try to ball out on each other and talk about each other and call one another basic, we need to figure out why it is that the struggle still remains in a lot of our communities. Like I said, out west and out south is pretty much equivalent to being poor in Chicago. You can't say those two sides of the city without thinking poor. And that's very sad. So we need to get out in these communities. We need to be for real about that. Whatever it takes, shows, music concerts, things that get to them, safe ways to teach them how to communicate, build the trust. Listen, y'all, we are all eventually going to die. This earth, it don't need us. We need this earth. So we need to take care of one another and keep one another alive, because that's our children, that's our grandchildren and their children. So we need to get out here on our actual blocks, see what these kids need. You got a kid on the block who need mentoring, a kid on the block who need a program. Connect these families. Don't talk about single mothers and how many baby daddies they got. You look out for them, feed them, take care of our people. We don't do nothing but throw each other down in a world that's already got us down. And we not on that no more. Cause
we family.
Yeah.
Because I feel everything you just said, and I'm with it. I agree with everything
that you said.
I'm throwing my fists up right now. Wish y'all could see. Throw them up for real, because it's time.
I got mine up.
We all got
I do too, because she just really said that, and I love how you just speak on really building the African American community again, and that's what's really been missing. So I love that you're getting that narrative out there, and I really hope a lot of people hear this. Like, this is what they need to be tuned into.
Facts,
big facts.
Yeah,
I greatly appreciate you taking out time to chat with us. Again, V, we want to say congratulations on the position. I know that Tribe is on the way to a whole new beginning. You guys are going to see a lot come in your future. All of you under the staff are definitely changing the narrative, and I'm proud to bring you on board and interview you, and you give a deeper insight on the article that you presented to the world.
I appreciate that so much. Please follow us, www.thetribe. That's the tribe with 2 I's, TRIIBE. Get in tune. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, the Gram. We about to shake it up. Come on, Chicago. It's time. We about to shake it up in Black Chicago. Tell you all what you need to know and what we need to do to change our narrative. Stay in tune.
Man, when this is all over, you got to come up here, cuz.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I got y'all. We gonna bring the barbecue grill.
Oh, hell yeah.
Look, y'all ain't even got to wait.
Y'all my guy know. Hey, babe, he in the garage right now listening to this right now on the grill. Hey, babe, they want to come over for a barbecue.
Hey, cuz, you hear me, cuz? Look, cuz, you could bring the barbecue.
And we'll bring the food.
Look, cuz, you hear me, cuz?
Chris done been cooking for 2 hours, y'all. We can't wait to have y'all over.
Most definitely. Hey, we appreciate you. Thank you, V. This was V.L. Harris with us on iLLANOiZE Radio. Again, you never gave out your social media.
Oh, yeah, VL Harrison. You can find me on Facebook, Veronica Lynette. My page is open for my lurkers and my stalkers. Come on in. I love y'all, too. On Twitter, I'm Veronica. I'm at VL Harrison. And on the Gram, I'm at VL Harrison. So hit me up. VL Harrison, assignment reporter with the Tribe.